received. Kraka's transport building event has been rejected for due to a lot of details that need to be filled out. So we are recommending resubmission for the next staff meeting.
Okay, now I'm updating the friends list.
Cool.
For viewers on MBS, we're just waiting for the staff. The special staff meeting is going to begin momentarily.
Before we get started in the meeting, do people mind if I give a quick intro to the topic, just for anyone that's listening that isn't aware of what the proposal here is?
Yeah, might as well.
Thanks. So yeah, well, first of all, I'll put my thanks out to the staff team here that were even doing the SSM today. Originally, this proposal was going to be discussed at the July GSM, but unfortunately, I'm not available for that as I'm travelling. So I'm really appreciative for the staff for allowing us to put on this special staff meeting to discuss this proposal. So what this proposal aims to solve is pretty much the lack of staff availability at key times on the server, and that's causing some challenges to members who aren't able to get WorldEdit or other staff requests on when they're wanting. Now, as staff members, it's really difficult for us to see this problem, just because when we are online, the problem isn't there because we are giving out those world edits. But rest assured, and I have spoken to quite a few members over the past few days, this is a genuine concern that people have, is that there are long periods of time where there is no staff availability, which is leaving people limited when it comes to their building options. I think, despite that, there is a challenge with this proposal, and that is where we get the balance point. So, but if we give the rank too many permissions and too many responsibilities, it stands to be that we will enforce a high barrier of entry, and we won't actually see that many more people. Whereas on the counter to that, if we don't give it enough permissions, then it won't be effective. So that is the balance that staff have to strike here. So if we are going to be going ahead with this idea, we need to identify what permission sets would be most useful for the community, while also enabling us to enforce a low enough barrier of entry that we can spread that and provide the community a better service than is now existent when it comes to WorldEdit and other services in game. So yeah, the proposal is then the introduction of a junior staff rank. So junior to mod, we've tentatively suggested the name conductor just to fit in with the service theme, but it would be a junior staff position to help the community with world edits and maybe a couple of other requests in game. That is pretty much the bones of it.
Bringing back the conductor rank.
So I think before we go into it, we haven't really had much in the way of concerns about the overall proposal, but I would like to give any staff now an opportunity to raise any concerns they have generally going into the model. So really, I'll open the floor now. If there are any concerns in the first place about introducing the rank, let's discuss that before we get into the meat of what the rank looks like.
Okay, Simon, are you referring to the first section, the yes/no part?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
Okay, so I did make a comment. I've written a written comment. The general idea is sound. However, based on the discussion I've seen in the forum thread, I think there are some. I don't think I can answer. I personally don't think I can answer that question yet. I'm not sure about others. I feel like there are a lot of details that need to be fleshed out, and more importantly, what exactly we want from this rank, because it's been called a staff position, but I'm hearing some opinions that it should be closer to a helper rank and less like a staff position, and I'm not entirely sure where we stand on that. And there are definitely some possible versions of this proposal where I could say that doesn't. I could say no to, like, because specifically if the, and we'll get to it later, but if the process for selecting these new conductors is just too complicated or too onerous, then I don't think we're helping ourselves here in that regard. But anyway, that's my take.
Okay, that makes sense. I think so. I may have misphrased the first line, the first topic, but it was more of a check of, is this completely out the ballpark? Is it even worth discussing? But I don't, from people's opinions, I don't think that generally is the idea. So I think, yeah, let's continue to flesh it out, and we can, once it is fleshed out, we can have that yes no safety check at the end of the meeting.
That makes sense, but what would you say are your red lines with the conductor? Front.
Oh, you're asking me? As I said, I just said one. Like, if the select process is too complicated, like, I think it's fairly clear. We'll get to this later, but I think the whole mod nom, the original idea I think you had, Simon, was applying mod nom process to this as well. I don't think that's particularly going to work out too well. I just want to keep this as simple as we can. But that, in some cases, that might not be possible here. I guess another red line, or I guess I'm not sure, is the whole how vetoes are going to apply this whole process. But we can discuss that later and figure that out.
Well, I think, shall we, before we go into the selection criteria, should we at least define what the rank is, because that is probably going to fairly heavily shape what selection process we actually need to put in place. So should we go forward and talk about roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, to me, really the thing that needs the most help and that requires a little bit more, or that has permissions that can be doled out like this, is world edit. Dynmap, I know that we're in the process of potentially offloading some of those requests into Discord and making that one a lot more self-serviceable for people outside of staff. And so the need to have staff members involved in game for that goes away. The other thing with Dynmap is that in game, the reason that I yell at people when they're asking about renders is because there is no technically enforceable maximum radius. So people are always like, "Can I get a max radius render?" And that's just been conventionally established at 300 because that's a pretty big range. But technically speaking, there's nothing stopping a mod from running a radius render of 1,000, or anyone with access to the Dynmap radius render command. You can run a radius render of 1,000, and that's just going to hog resources for a really long time. So having technical controls like what will be in place via the Discord option, that will alleviate a lot of the concern on Dynmap. For World Edit, there is a technical control in place where mods are capped at 150,000 blocks, and admins can go above that if we need to, but it's something that we can control. So, and those are the two most common requests that I see is those. Rollbacks we're going to have to leave to admins just because that I think it's smart to leave that with admins for the bigger amount of changes that can get involved in that. But like, you could also, well, I could be convinced on allowing lookups, although block check requests they don't come up all that often, but that is something because you're just reading block state that we could potentially allow core inspect.
I'll add on to that, Chief. I'd heard some discussion about debug stick permissions for this new rank.
Yeah.
It could be argued that might also be that might turn moot later on because I think there's a enhanced debug stick plugin that someone suggested to me. If that gets installed, then that'll be available to, I guess, trustees or not or something. So
Yeah, I think we would put that to trustee.
yeah.
So I probably didn't shape the meeting agenda the best because I think this sort of bleeds into part 4 as well, which is the permissions. So it's all in the same thing. So what I suggested is an initial implementation, and if what my preference would be is to tackle the minimum viable solution, and if we so choose in the future, we can then add additional permissions in a couple of months' time if we need to. So my suggestion would be, in terms of permissions, it would be the same world edit access as mods, debug stick usage, and then ability to teleport freely, and then access to help op.
Yeah, I mean, by nature of the position, you kind of need to be able to teleport to other players. So
yeah, exactly.
It's basically world edit, debug stick, because the debug stick is just a handy alias. Because all the stuff that you can do with debug stick, you can mostly do with world edit, so it just makes it a little handier. So that makes sense. And then just the supporting tools.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of nomenclature, I guess, Simon, is this more of a helper rank or is this more of a staff rank, or is it a bit?
So I see it as both. So I would protest that a helper isn't a staff member because I still see that as them dedicated their time and that they're in a trusted position to give their time to support the community. Yes, it isn't the full moderation suite that of responsibilities that all the mods have, but it is still supporting the community, and they are in a trusted position with the additional commands they've been given. So I would say it's a junior staff team position.
Okay.
I'm going to let others have the opportunity to, if anyone else has an opportunity or wants to respond. I've got some thoughts on that, but I'll let others go first.
I think there will be room for interpretation. In my head, I'm thinking of it as more of a helper rank, as kind of separate from ad mods, even if it's of a more privileged position than your regular members.
I do worry, Simon. I'm not sure if you thought of this. The whole naming of calling it a junior staff rank. I think we had this concern with Conductor a long time ago too, if I recall. It sort of implies that the person would get promoted out of junior eventually. That makes sense.
So sorry, my description of junior was just more junior than the current position. Like mod is more junior than admin. It wasn't it wasn't meant to imply that it was like a trial mod position or anything like that.
But my point is, some people will read the word junior, regardless of what you intended, and think that eventually all or most conductors will get promoted to full mod event at some point.
I'm not sure that is the case though, because you don't look at the fact that moderator is junior to admin and assume every moderator is going to become an admin.
I think
it's just another rank in that staff team, which is lower than, if you want to call it lower rather than junior.
I'm just saying other people will interpret it that way. And I do remember that when we used to have conductor a long time ago, I think that was one of the reasons why we got rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
at the time, though, I don't think we called the conductors as part of the staff team. I think it was a non-staff rank explicitly. But
so maybe calling this a non-staff rank 2 might help in that regard, right? Like,
yeah. So
like we're just arguing about the naming. That I'm just saying the naming is important because it communicates what the rank. It helps better communicate what the rank is to everyone else.
yeah.
For me, another reason I would see it as a staff position is that is outside of the normal promotion route. So, like, you don't go governor, premier, and then conductor. You can jump off to it in at any point. So I see it more in that staff team because it isn't a normal member rank that you would get through building.
So since we're kind of talking about this from the philosophical lens, I see staff, that the role of staff is divided into several components that all exist on top of a regular member. There's the community assistance aspect, there's the enforcement aspect, there's the kind of leadership aspect and like the decision making that comes with that, of actually being involved in our governance processes, and then there's kind of the more direct community building aspect. And I think that this rank is more, I interpret it as more of a helper, because it is alleviating some of that pressure of the kind of service. I don't want to use the term service desk because that kind of belittles the work that staff are doing, but the request handling that everybody, that we have to spend a lot of time doing, and this is something that it's designed to alleviate that. And I think that if it is noted that, hey, these are people who are, however they get into the rank, that these are people who can help with World Edit and whatever other tools we give them, but that if you have something that's not like a quick thing that can be resolved in game, you have questions about the actual procedures and stuff, we want to distinguish between those, even though.
But surely that's just layered, because if there's something that's administration related that moderators can't answer, you don't call moderators not part of the staff team. I mean, ultimately, I don't particularly care what they get classified as, because it's going to be the same role whether we call it part of the staff team or not. But I see it as people that are in a trusted position to support the community.
Yeah, I would agree that. Yeah, I would agree that even though there is there is a high degree of trust that's involved in getting the position, and you're a lot more visible and you're helping people out. That's awesome, and I think that this is a tangible way for people who care about the server a lot to help out without necessarily having, and like this rank wouldn't have votes at staff meetings. This rank would not be able to participate in the nomination process for moderator unless, except for actually submitting the nomination to begin with, and it wouldn't be able to, make the final decision on rules and things of that nature. It's really, it's providing the direct in-game assistance to everyday stuff, not participating in the governance. I mean, the staff team is participating in the governance, and the staff members would actually have the ability to, actually issue sanctions and stuff. Whereas people who are just straight conductors, yeah, maybe you might have a more direct line of communication to the staff, but so does everybody if you just DM people and you've got issues, but it's up to the staff to kind of review and make the call on that. So I think that those are separate.
Go ahead. Sorry, Vicky, go ahead.
Basically, like I saw like just a good brief argument from Kitty that I think summarizes like what Chief said, I think, really well. Kitty said that he thinks the word staff infers a certain set of authorities that conductors will not have, so it might be confusing to new members who aren't as familiar. Or rather, calling them staff would be confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, as I say, I don't particularly mind what the classification is because it's still the same support to the community. So if I mean, it seems I'm sort of on an island here, so I'm happy to bow down if that's a general consensus.
It's not so much that, it's more, this is a communication thing. This is more helping the rest of the community know what exactly this rank is, and
my follow-up question then is, in terms of on the player ranks page on the website, where does this fit in? Because at the moment it transitions through the basic ranks, town ranks, city ranks to staff ranks. Do we add a whole new category for helper, or yeah? Because for me, because it naturally fits into the staff ranks category more so than the city ranks category.
Yeah, I think it's just the most logical. I think even if it's just like one rank in the category, like I think it's just logical to make a new category.
Yeah, from a technical perspective, the permissions that are involved, they run parallel. They run separate.
Absolutely.
They run separate from their player ranks, and they do increase as you go up the staff ranks. So, like from a technical perspective, it might be implemented that way. I think it's like for the purpose of everyone else, it's just like.
But no, so I'm talking about the website though, where it's communicated to people for the first time.
Then.
So do we add a helper category or helper rank?
It probably goes in a separate category between Premier and Mod. I think just to highlight that difference.
I think it's fine.
Starcube Trustee is part of the basic ranks. Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing too is, the other thing too about treating it as a non-staff position is it allows us, depending on how we want to talk about the selection process and all that, people essentially apply for senator, governor, and premier ranks. We could talk about having people essentially apply for this rank, subject to, like passing a test of World Edit or subject to a veto or something like that. But we can get into that later. But like having it as a non-staff means that we don't have to adjust the kind of general sentiment of you don't ask to become staff.
So one of the concerns going into this, and I know Frumple, you in particular had highlighted this, was that you wanted on the server a balance of responsibilities versus perks. Now I know we had an argument about this about a year ago when I initially brought up this idea. Are you and is everyone else fairly content that yes, they have the perk of World Edit, but the responsibility of giving that to other server members is sufficient?
So about a year ago, and this was my opinion for, I guess, 9 years, for the longest time. Like my idea was I would only give World Edit permissions to people that I felt were responsible, and that also extended to being responsible in other ways. So like not just being a good at work, like using World Edit responsibly, but like just being able to enforce the rules, not being a twat, like just not just being someone who tries to be as fair and objective and like as possible. Seeing that now, like I think the World Edit perk in itself is a good enough. I think the responsibility of World Edit is good enough to balance out the perk, I think now. So I have to change. That's what it's been said, and I wrote that down on the FAQ on the website. That's my explanation of why we don't give staff what non-staff World Edit. I probably have to change that now, but I think it's good enough that I hope it's good enough that if we grant world edit to people, they're not going to abuse it and just use it for themselves. That does so. Even though we're trying to make this sort of we have to figure out the balance of what the selection process is, because we don't want to make it too easy such that everyone applies and we make everyone, well, like a lot of people, conductors. But we don't make it too hard that no one applies, right? Like
Right.
there has to be enough. There has to be some vetting of the person to make, and this is hard to determine. Like to vet that they're not going to just use the world edit powers selfishly. They're going to use it to help others, and have to demonstrate that in some way.
Yeah. And also, I think that's easily, I mean, that's the kind of thing that if we notice that someone is, and like, yeah, right now, we say that staff are expected to service requests as often as they can, but staff are also given the leeway to ignore them, like if you're too busy and or you're whatever. But and I would hope that the folks who are that conductors are following a similar thing of, yeah, the expectation is do it and help people out, but like there are genuine times when, yeah, some discretion's fine. But I would agree that with the point that Dinty just put in chat of, if people are literally just ignoring and not helping anybody else, then yeah, that's pretty good grounds to lose your rank. So it's
So I mean, we just jumping around the agenda. We're sort of naturally coming onto it. Should we skip forward to topic 5, which is the promotions aspect of it? And to be fair, communication methods is a fairly minor thing, so it can be discussed at the end.
We can just go through those quickly right now. I think we can still go in order. Just get those out of the way, I think.
Okay. So I mean, we've now said that the conductor position isn't going to be a staff position, and instead it's going to be more of a helper category. We'll obviously need to give help up for them to receive requests, but based on that, do we need to have a general staff / helper channel, or is the current setup fine and they just have access to normal channels?
I don't think that'll work though, because just correct me if I'm wrong, mods will still be able to help with world edit too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this isn't taking anything away. This is adding additional. Yeah.
So it does. So we do need a channel that encompasses all admins, moderators, staff. Because what's probably going to happen is someone's going to do help op, ask for world edit, and then the staff. I guess members don't know this, but we usually type in the staff channel like "I got it," right? If we can't communicate with the helpers, then that's gonna be a problem, right? Like we're gonna
That's a very
Is /H open? Maybe we could use that, and like maybe just have it tagged as helper, even if like staff will be able to use it too.
Why not C? Because it's conductors.
I suggest. I like Dinty's idea of doing D, because it's /A for admins, S for staff.
They're right next to each other.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, given we can see it, do we just start using /help op to deconflict that? Because if everyone can see it, then it's a channel in itself.
It's a long command. I like the thing with venture chat channels that I like is that you can set them. You can set that as your default. So if there's a lot of chatter going on, then you can just set it and not have to put the prefix in every time.
Wait, sorry, I'm looking. Simon, are you proposing changing help up into a venture chat channel?
No. So I'm just saying, just
treating it as
just
such.
use help op, and we just talk in help op saying I've got this request, because everyone that needs to see it can see it and can type into it.
Oh, I see what.
Well, I think the other disadvantage of using that is that it potentially makes it more difficult for us to see what's a request and what's chatter about that request. like having new requests come in and highlighted the way that they are in help up, that it gets our attention because that color combination doesn't show up all that often. So if that color combination is also being used for chatter, then it can be a little trickier to figure out what is a new request that I need to pay attention to and what is someone either confirming or asking a question about something. John G, to answer the question, it depends on traffic. The question is, how often do you get help up? It depends on traffic, and if there's a lot of people on, then we can have 5 or 6 requests come in all at once, and if it's dead, then people just use regular chat. But it really depends. But the point is that the reason that we ask you to use it is that it shows up bright red and orange to us, so it's very attention grabbing. So
What do
I'd
you guys
rather have a
think?
separate channel for just to keep them easy to tell what's what.
So what was Dinty's suggestion? Sorry, that you liked from Paul? I didn't say it.
ASD, basically.
D standing for.
It's right
just
next to.
It's next to S.
Oh, fair enough.
And
Doesn't
there is
necessarily
a
stand
D
for
in
anything.
conductor, so I mean it sort of fits.
Well,
Conductor.
We're really going on the WASD line.
Will the venture chat prefix just be like helper or something?
That doesn't need to be argued about right now.
I mean, yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's probably fine, but
so yeah.
Did you want a help up channel instead?
Well, no, I was saying that we don't need to argue about what the prefix shows up as with venture chat right now. I think having a channel separate makes sense. But yeah, setting it as helper or whatever, that's fine.
Okay. And one little thing, the whole thing about Discord linking, is this channel going to be linked to Discord?
I would propose no for now, and the reason is because that is that it is a channel for helping stuff in game, and like the staff channels, they're great for having conversations about stuff across whoever happens to be online versus not. Whereas the job of the conductor relies on you being in game. Starkeep, so we could, for example, link it to Discord, but then make it so that only staff can see that Discord channel. So like we would stick it in the same category as the mod folder. We could do that.
I mean, I think it's more with like how it would work with like the permissions and like having a separate category or something for that, or I don't know how that would work, but like I think like with I can say as like a self as a mod like I do sometimes at least see like, hey, there's like requests going on and like I'm not in game, but like I could join within like 2 minutes and I can maybe help a bit with, which like seems fair, to be honest.
That wouldn't show. How would that show up in a Discord channel, though? Remember, we're talking about a linking to the new /D channel, right?
Like stuff chat, I think it's called, like so like I like, of course you wouldn't see like the help of messages, but like you would still see like like I don't know, like my thoughts don't really work very well. But if there's it's not worth it to like really break my mind over right now. But I think either way it's fine. So
I think what we can do is for now not link it, but if we find there's a use for it, then we can link it later. I'll just throw out this scenario, and I think it'll apply to other things too. Like, what if a helper needs to? I guess they can just ping staff if there's like a someone breaking a rule or something, right? Like just like anyone else. Yeah. But I don't know. But yeah, for now,
I think with that, I think personally it might be good to if they do that like in a public channel, so that like other like members in game also know like, hey, it is being reported, because otherwise you will have you like if it's an admin thing, then like you might get like a member reporting it, then like a helper, like a conductor reporting it, a mod reporting it, and that's like all kind of things in every channel for one thing, which might not be helpful.
yeah, but
Yeah.
go Chief.
Oh, as I say, I mean, right now, y'all can report stuff publicly through the, through in-game or through pinging or whatever, or you can DM us or you can email us. I mean, those tools aren't going away. So, I'm thinking about it, and, it may be helpful. I mean, like, there would almost certainly be a Discord role associated with this. And I would think there could be an argument for creating a Discord channel, like just within Discord, or a linked one that goes across, just in terms of helping the conductors
I think it'd be
coordinate
useful.
or get information from us or whatever.
I think it'd be useful also if they're to share tips and tricks, if nothing else, with World of It.
So, and then, but I think, like, do they need a live connection between this channel and Discord? I mean, I think we could say leave it unlinked for right now, and like, luckily they're pretty easy to link later if we need to. So,
okay.
Okay.
The decision we're making is we'll make a Discord channel, but it's not going to be linked at this time. We'll see how it goes, and if we need to, if it seems like it'd be useful to link them, then we can do that.
Will there still be the one in game?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There'll be. Yeah. There'll be. The in-game one and the Discord one, but they're not linked yet.
I'm just looking at console with everyone trying all these color codes, and I'm like, oh no. Like, the console messages just make it look like chaos.
Yeah. Okay. I think we can move. Actually, so the next section is on permissions, but I think we've already discussed it. I don't know if there's anything else to discuss.
I have the preliminary list in the minutes, if you have that open.
So just to confirm, to tick it off, we're talking World did it the same set as mods, debug stick, to read, help up, and to teleport, including warps, backs, and to coordinates.
You should only need teleporting to player and coordinates.
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose. Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, there's no particular requirement to slash warp, is there?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of doing slash timeouts, but no, or timeout rounders, but no, because that will be done via Discord.
That'll be done by Discord.
So coordinates, players, and back warps aren't necessary.
Do we want to discuss the thing Dinty's bringing up, how the rank will look?
Can we get to that in a second after we're done with the permissions?
Okay.
I agree that we should talk about that, but right this second, we're still in the middle.
We had got it in misc factors under part 7.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, no, we do not need TPO. Home limit. Do we? So right now, mods are allowed unlimited homes. Is this something? do we think that the regular player home limit is still fine, or do we need to
Well,
go
we can't just have a
increased home
regular
limit?
one because they're not still attached to
So-
their regular rank.
So this,
So
this
I think
No, you can
Oh,
have
hold on,
multiple
hold on.
ranks at once.
Yeah, no, sorry, Simon. That's what Dinty's asking, because there's two ways we can set this up. This is a technical thing. So it's either conductor is a separate standalone rank on its own, kind of like mod or admin. That means that there's going to be some set home limit there. Could be unlimited, could be something else. The other way Dinty is proposing is adding a conductor add-on rank on top of whatever your city rank is or town rank is. In that scenario, then the number of homes and all the other perks are based on your town rank still. Just plus you have world ed permissions.
I think it makes sense to standardize it, because if we are expecting people to teleport away from what they're doing to help other people, then we should give them an appropriate limit to be able to say, okay, let me set a quick temp home where I am so I can come back if I'm doing multiple requests at once. So I would be in favour, to be fair, of just of no limit, similar to mods.
It is an extra tip we're giving. So, Red Vicky.
I'm fine with unlimited homes, especially if they get teleportation to coordinates. Then I mean, what they could do is to work around limited homes. It's just like have like a notepad document with just like a whole bunch of coordinates for places they want to go. So I just don't see the need to have limited homes.
Actually, Simon, there's a big drawback. What if someone gets promoted to conductor, and then they add a whole bunch of unlimited homes, and then they get demoted for some reason? They still have all those homes.
In which case it is a staff effort to reduce those, but that's the same as if a mod steps down.
And historically, removing all those homes is
I mean, we usually don't police that. It's up to the person involved, and usually they don't realize that it's a problem until after they've stepped down and they try to add a new one, and then they have to remove enough themselves to get under the limit to then free up a slot for their new one. It's the same anytime anyone gets demoted down because of a double warning, or because of the old double warning. But if someone's at L4, their access to the whole home system is blocked. So that's different. Because otherwise there really aren't rank demotions that happen.
Yeah, but considering how many homes I've seen from former staff, like we're talking.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So based on, I'm a little bit more in favor of Dinty's idea of add-on ranks because then we don't have to deal with that problem. But yeah.
But then I think they should have more homes than their same rank counterparts, because there is the expectation that they could be teleporting all over, and then they need to get back to what they were doing.
I think that's a case of you would need to be aware of that and leave a home free if that's something that's important to you.
But that's now a drawback of having that rank. That's one less home they can set because they need to keep one open.
How about something in the middle? How about instead of unlimited homes, have it some limit? Like
We can have a higher limit, like 50.
What is the limits right now?
I think
Premiers are
25.
premiers are 25.
I mean, should we just say 25 is standard for all?
50's a lot, but 25
We could say 30. That we could say 30. That's an objectively higher thing than premier.
$30. Yeah, we could do 30.
I'm fine with 30.
I'm fine with whichever.
Assuming we go this route.
So I can see a lot of people in meeting chat are saying, how about just adding 25 to their current rank? That would be pretty difficult to do in...
it doesn't work that way.
Missions, yeah. You just couldn't. So I'd be fine with just all of them having 30.
Yeah. So, yeah, for everyone else, yeah, it doesn't work like that, even if we do the add-on route. it just inherits whatever the limit is that we set. So it can't do math. For Yoshi, who says, what if you just gave the return command instead? They would have the back command. However, the problem that having homes and stuff solves is, let's say you're helping 2 people in a row. You
Or if
start
you're
at
doing
your
a copy paste where you're having to copy something
right,
from the lab world and
or
then paste it on the new worlds.
exactly, or
Your
if
back
you're
gets moved.
or if you have to teleport to someone multiple times in a row just because you can't see the point that they're talking about, or because whatever. Yeah, no, it allows you to fix a point in place. So the back command, yeah, it's useful, but it doesn't fully capture this.
Adding on to what Dindy said, yeah, the back command is not reliable. I found I never use it. Like,
Yeah,
it will end up, you might end up teleporting to something else. So
yeah, if you do an MVTP and switch worlds that way, it doesn't work.
Yeah, likewise for warps. It's only essentials teleport
Yeah.
commands which it picks up on.
Yeah, World Guard teleports don't work either, though that wouldn't apply to conductors.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so setting homes up to 30, I think that makes sense. And then if you drop out of conductor for whatever reason and back down to your normal rank, then it's on you to clean up your homes, and you will not be able to create any new ones above your normal player rank until you delete a bunch. So, which is how it works for staff, but this at least puts a cap on how many you'd have to deal with.
So one other permission that I am thinking of is currently the normal / speed is for members is capped to 50% of the maximum. Do we want conductors to have the maximum speed, which can be quite helpful if you're zipping around trying to select points?
I feel like we're kind of, again, I thought we were going to
going down a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we're starting to we're
trying to think of what's truly necessary to help out, and speed is a nice to have, but it's not necessary. Homes can be necessary because of how how servicing multiple requests are moving around in that work.
And I think I'd like to apply that to what Dinty said about NPC limits. I think that's irrelevant here. So we're not.
In that case, should we keep it with what we've got now, and we'll progress on? I think this is a viable set of ranks, a viable set of permissions. Anyhow.
Yeah, I think this is a really good starting point.
And it doesn't all have to be defined here. If in a couple of months' time we change our mind, we can add additional ones.
Dinty said we're going to have to set it to something, though. I guess it could be the same as whatever Premier is plus something.
I don't know about what NPC limits are.
Yeah, well, we can figure that out later.
Premier is 100. I don't think it needs to be higher than that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Besides, like the citizens NPC thing really hasn't been used all that much recently.
I think it had something to do with a crash recently, even. So
yeah,
it's not. It's not a great plugin. Yeah.
No, I mean, like there were certainly a few people who used it, but it's those people have largely left. So.
Okay, so just so we're on the same page, what I have in the minutes for like the preliminary list of permissions: world edit, some more permissions as mods, debug stick, the conductor related channels and ability to read help bot, teleport, including coordinate space and back, and 30 homes. Do I have anything else?
No, I think that captures it.
That captures it, I think. Yeah.
So on to part 5, which is how we look at promotion to the rank. And I'm going to, if you give me a second, I'm going to put up the comments document because I know there were some thoughts in there.
I'm seeing some questions I guess related, like who will be the next conductors? I think Star asked earlier how many conductors. We'll answer those questions eventually, but we need to figure out this stuff first.
Yeah, we're literally getting into the process of how people will get promoted. So all y'all who are asking questions, we're literally about to argue about that.
So my initial suggestion, and this is going back to the document I wrote a year ago, was that it would be handled like mod nominations. But I think at this point, if we're not calling it a staff rank, then we don't have to go down that line, because to get onto the actual staff team, there is that arduous process which is accountable to the community through GSMs. So I'm reading from Paul's message now. And yeah, I agree that it can be a fairly simple implementation.
I've said I don't agree with Skelly. I don't feel like Skelly's ideas, but I don't think it should be counted out. Like if you feel like a trustee nomination system would be, or something similar would be a better fit for this, then I think it should be considered. I just feel like it's just going to add, more process, which I'm not a big fan of. Sorry, go ahead, Vicky.
One thing I was thinking about, this would probably be the simplest way to do it while meeting all of Rumpel's concerns, but probably having like one, maybe two staff like nominate somebody for conductor. Then Rumpel and Chief have veto power, and if both of them are fine with it, then it could just go to discussion at a staff meeting.
I suppose that the problem there is that should we involve the community in that? Because one of the challenges with the staff team, which is why we've now opened up the nomination process, is because there had been a lack of accountability, because it was all behind closed doors, so people didn't really see it as viable. That if you weren't part of this inner circle, I know some people called it back in the day, then you were just not getting promoted. Are we risking going down the same path, and does that even matter?
I think for whatever selection process, if we go down this road, we definitely won't do it in a private portion. Like I think the whole process should be public, at the very least.
So
at least people can see how we're making a decision, right?
Yeah. So I think depending on volume, and I'm guessing it's going to be fairly front loaded, because there may be a bunch of people who are nominated or apply, or there may be a bunch of people who enter the process quickly after it becomes available, given that it's a brand new thing. For a bit of context, back in the day when we had the original conductor rank was kind of different, but back when we had the original trusted rank, back when it was just the old world, even though the staff meetings themselves were private, pretty much in their entirety back then, we kind of reviewed the whole list in batches. So and kind of it was more of a consent agenda kind of thing of like, okay, here's the list. Does anyone have any concerns about any of these? So potentially as a step in the process, the way that I'm envisioning it is either people can apply or be nominated, and I would allow people to apply for it. And the reason for that is that there very well may be people who have familiarity with World Edit or want to learn or want to help out, but just haven't been able to establish friends on the server to vouch for them. And so I still want to be able to give those people the chance to help out. So, have an application process, have a quick review, or ideally it would be that you would apply, there'd be a quick exam or some kind of process just to check, okay, do you understand what World Edit is? Or at least the basics, right? Like ideally, if we can get World Edit school fixed or have some kind of way to test that.
Chief,
and then, yeah. Well,
I don't know if you
do. Yeah, do some kind of quick screening like that, and then it's really just go through for vetoes and thing, or vetoes or discussion or things like that. Fairly objective, and yes, there is a process, but not have more objectivity to it where we can.
So, Chief, I'm not in favor of the world ed test because, for one thing, it adds a little more process, and two, I think
Sure.
it might not be necessary because I wrote in actually right in the agenda. I think we already have that information when we do these world ed requests for these people. Like we
Mhm.
can usually tell that if they've got their P1, P2, if they give me the exact command. I love it when people give exact commands because I don't have to
Oh, me too.
ask like what exactly do you want? Like if they do that and seem to know what they're doing, I think they pass that criteria. Like they know how to world it.
Right.
So
Yeah, true.
I think the more stringent criteria which would need to be addressed first is do they have the requisite trust to have those additional permissions? And which that I think the actual world-edit knowledge is secondary to that because world-edit knowledge can very much be built over time.
yeah, the hard, and I mentioned this, the hardest part of this, the hardest criteria to evaluate and determine is, can we trust this person? Or do they seem like they genuinely want to help people? Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to really.
I mean, I suppose it is how we write it and how we evaluate it is going to be will evolve, but how we write that, I think we can look at using a subset of the moderator things where we know so basic things must be a trustee, no active warning in the past 3 months. I think we friendly personality that works well with other members and staff. I think we can agree that's 3 fairly basic criteria that aren't that contentious.
I think we agree on. I think we agree on the criteria. It's just more like what's the process of how does someone become a how does someone become a conductor?
I would personally be in favour of an application process, and then so someone can apply. It would then be a vote at a staff meeting with Frumple or Chief having a veto in advance of that meeting.
Okay.
It's fairly straightforward. We're not expecting people to write pages long.
So it's not members nominating others. It's just the person themselves. Correct.
I think so.
We
Yeah.
would. I would be okay. I think a direct application makes sense here. Potentially we could potentially allow nominations, but it really has to be, does the person involved want to help? And I think that is something that you can express in an application. And also this then encourages, or if it's direct application and you have someone who you think would be great as a helper, you can encourage them and say, hey, this is open, go apply.
I guess this is the unknown factor. Is I don't know if I'm not shooting down the idea, just to be clear, but like how many applications will we get? Like if it's a lot and we end up rejecting a lot, is that okay? Is that fine? I don't know.
I think so, and naturally, I think we will get a lot of applications up front because every trustee that has been on the server for a significant amount of time would probably want to help the community.
It would be a lot of. I'm not saying this. I don't know if this will happen, but it would be a lot of applications to reject. But I think that might be okay. Like it's.
Yeah, I think it's going to be front loaded.
So my follow up to that is, let's assume if we are going to go with this, there's 2 challenges. First of all, if a new member, let's say, gets promoted to trustee, how long should they have to wait before applying in the first place? Should they have to have been a trustee for 3 months? Because it doesn't make sense to me that someone that has theoretically only been on the server for 3-4 weeks, or I think even 2 to get from member to trustee now, isn't it?
Yeah.
How should we put a time limit in place? So once you get trustee, you have to have been a trustee for 6 months?
I would agree that, for the sake of simplicity, the 3 month no active warnings, that I mean, I think we should explicitly state that, and you need active membership for 3 months. Adding a 6 month thing on, I like that pretty much all of our stuff is generally a 3 month clock.
Okay,
So,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Um,
The activity is very important because that'll give existing staff to be able to see. It's hard. Yeah, they'll be able to see the person requesting will, so we'll be able to evaluate them. I guess also other conductors would able to tell us that too. Did you get what I mean? Like it's sort of a feedback loop in a way.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
yeah.
And maybe if we are having a conductor channel in Discord, we can have some discussion there about it. Like, what do you guys think about these candidates?
That would be a reason to have that.
Have a channel. Yeah.
Mhm. Or so we can at least give the conductors a voice in advance of that meeting of, are there any absolute showstoppers here, do you think?
Yeah, Dinty, I think for the sake of transparency basically, as we're reviewing applications, I think we would, at the GSM, would say, okay, here's the batch of candidates that we would like to have everyone, or that we'd like to approve. For the sake of transparency, these people also applied. And because right now, mod vetoes and stuff are public.
So Kitty's asking the requirements: trustee for 3 months, active for 3 months, also no warning for 3 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay.
I would say for the sake of simplicity, those requirements would also apply to mod. And I think they're right now they're somewhat implied, but I think just writing them down and making it official, that makes sense.
Just to check, actually, are we saying trustee for 3 months as well as active for 3 months, or the two generally overlap? But
they're both needed. Like, because it's possible to be a trustee for 3 months and then you go inactive, right? So,
but I was more thinking the other way, that do we need to specify trustee for 3 months? Because if they've been active for 3 months,
someone's speed running,
there's some members, some people there could be citizens for 3 months, right, and be active. So
yeah, I get that. Okay.
Yeah. I think membership for 3 months, active membership for 3 months, and you have to be trustee regardless of how long you've held trustee.
Okay, but should someone, let's say someone's been a citizen for 3 months and then gets promoted to trustee, would they then immediately be able to apply for this position, Chief? Do you think?
Yeah, that's a good thought. Yeah, especially because if someone's being held.
Mm-hmm. So are we wanting to say then trustee for 3 months and active for 3 months and no warnings for 3 months? And I would also then like to add another, which is you haven't had any failed applications for the rank in 3 months, because if what we don't want is someone's applied at this GSM, then apply at the next one, then the next one, then the next one.
Yeah, I forgot about that whole aspect. Like there are going to be some people who are going to. Yeah, that's adding more process to this, which is not great. But
well, we can just have a criteria that if you have been unsuccessful,
this is something that we can mostly automate a check for in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, we can.
You don't even get advanced if you're applying too soon.
Simon, would you be interested detail? Like, would you be interested in making that form and spreadsheet and all that?
Yeah, I mean it's fairly similar to the trustee one, so I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, for the minutes, can somebody recap the application process again?
So step one is the eligibility is 3 months. It's a 3 month clock, and there's 4 criteria, 3 for sure, 4 maybe. And you have to have all of them for a solid 3 months before you can apply. It's active, trustee rank or higher, and no warnings. as long as you meet all those 3 criteria for 3 months, then you're eligible. And then the process is step 1 is you apply. Step 2 is it's reviewed. There's an initial pass review cycle. That's where it can be instantly vetoed by Frumple or myself.
We'll talk
and then
about veto
basic,
process.
yeah,
Sorry.
we'll talk about that in a minute. But essentially, the final, like once you've applied, then it almost would immediately go for, assuming there's no veto on it, then it would get final decision at public GSM, kind of similar to how the mod voting and stuff happens.
Okay.
So
But
in
we'll just
terms
do a
of
quick
then
pass.
cutoff, in terms of cutoff, because we would want some discussion, should we say to be received 1 week before the GSM, same as
I like tying it to that, just because then there's one round of paperwork that we have to do.
Sure. Okay. Several points I'm seeing in chat. So Skelly, yeah, the main reason I didn't like the application idea at first was the whole cooldown thing and people reapplying all the time. I think it's still a simple process, so maybe we can deal with that. But yeah, that was my main concern. And guys, I don't know if you've seen Dinty's comments, but he had to leave. Did we decide whether this is going to be a public process? I guess because
I
there's a
am
concern
in.
about.
I'm in favour of it, particularly with how front-loaded it's going to be. I don't think we need to discuss individual candidates at a GSM. But I think maybe we should announce them at a GSM. No, I don't know actually.
It's one of the. That's fair. Like it's one of those. It's kind of a balance between being transparent about how we made the decision versus, I guess, hurting people's feelings because they didn't.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a lot.
I would be happy. I'd be happy to provide feedback. So generally, I mean, it would almost come into a couple of categories. So we can see we don't have sufficient experience with these people. I suppose that's What are the possible reasons for denying someone? It's not having enough exposure, not having the requisite trust, or just wait more time.
Yeah, I mean, really, experience with World Edit, straight up ineligible, or like if you're concerned that they're not getting the rank for the original purpose that it was designed for.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have concerns that someone is just getting it to be selfish for themselves, yeah, that could be something to talk about.
I mean, I suppose thinking about it, for the sake of it's the one time where we staff it together, shall we just put it in the GSM? Like we will just discuss it at the GSM, and we will have a vote at the GSM in public.
Yeah,
because it makes it easier than having to do something outside the meeting where we may only get half the staff available.
Right. To Dinty's point, we already have that for mods, or the the essentially public discussion about someone. We already have that for mods.
And actually, it's more explicit as well, because for mods, whereas you've got the check that you ask the person, do you want this? They have explicitly applied, so we can front load that with you will be discussed, and you could be, we could deny you in public.
I'm not. Dinty's not here, so I'm not sure if this is what he wants. That's the point he was making. But the difference between conductor and mod is we're going to have to look through a whole bunch more conductor apps just on scale. That means we're going to have to say no a lot more, which means we're going to. It increases the potential of disappointing more people, basically, and we have to explain that a lot more, like why we came to these decisions, right? If we're prepared to do that and we think this is the way to go, then sure. But that I'm just letting you know that's what that's the road we have to go through.
My guess is the biggest bucket of refusals is probably going to be because of
lack of requisite experience.
Lack of familiarity with World Edit, or lack of communication skills of knowing how to ask or help people understand what they're doing.
I think there's going to be I think there's going to be a significant I would hope that people would know that whether they're at least self-aware enough to know whether they're knowledgeable in world edit. Like staff members will tell them straight up when they're requesting it. Like, please put your P1 and P2 in a clear position. Please have a command ready, right? Like, honestly, I think they're going to be
Or
quite
like know what you know what you want to do.
Yeah, but
even if you don't know the syntax.
my point is, I think they're going to be significant. My guess is I think they're going to be significant number ones where it's going to be more like, we don't feel like that you genuinely want to help other people, or we don't have that trust there, right?
Yeah,
that's going to be a hard conversation to have, right?
But it's a hard conversation, yes, but that they would be applying it themselves on the understanding that they're opening themselves to that criticism. If they're not willing to hear that, then they shouldn't be applying. Yes, I know that's a very perfect.
Historically, there have been some mods who got nominated and they, weren't happy with the result, but yeah.
Well, and I think with this, it's if you apply and are denied, there's a very clear opportunity for your next attempt, and there's really no, like, the only thing that counts against you in this case is there's a cooldown period. But other than that, it's like, hey, sorry, we don't think that it's a good fit right now. You can apply again for the thing in 3 months, and during that time, here's some things that you can do. I think having a tangible next opportunity, I think that'll soften the blow quite a bit.
I suppose the next question is, are we opening it? Are we casting the net too wide? Because at that point, is there an assumption that everyone will get it at some point because we are giving tips? Or how about you do this for the next few months?
That was one of my concerns. Like, I think there should be we should set the expectation that we're not giving conductor to everyone, or even to most people. Like, it's going to be a select few of people still. Because there is a danger also that if you have too many conductors, they'll start not to take the responsibilities seriously because
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just going to be a balancing act that we're going to have to do. So
I'd say, let's try it, see what happens. If we need to adjust, we'll adjust later. But we don't know how many applications we're going to get. We don't know.
I mean, I think it's worth regardless. Let's in 3 months' time at a GSM just put a topic in for conductor review and just see how things are getting on.
Okay. Okay. Can we talk about vetoes now?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the veto process, I think, yes, there should be a veto. Absolutely. I think it should be separate to a moderator veto because I think you yourself and Chief would have different standards for the two ranks. Yeah. So, is the question here, at what point does the veto get announced?
I guess it'd be, specifically for conductor, it'd be as soon as we see it an application, right, Chief? I guess.
Yes, as soon as we check the list of applications.
I suppose one option is there is already a single check a week before the GSM for mod nominations to be added and such. Could we, at that point, yes, the two of you will review the list and you will announce the following have been vetoed. The following will be considered at the GSM.
Yeah,
and the two of you can do it in bulk rather than ad hoc every couple of days when you receive a response.
Yeah, that probably makes the most sense.
Okay, on your point about in the written comment, I did have a concern. You want vetoes for conductor and mod, like they're separate vetoes, right? I guess one concern I can see is how is that reflected in the member list, because that's going to be a whole.
I suppose does it need to be, or can a veto just be we're not discussing it, but you can apply. This is an application you can apply again in 3 months' time, because then you don't have to track it in any of the documents.
No, there isn't. There may be some people who I think probably 3 months.
Would there ever be a scenario where you'd allow someone to become mod but not a conductor?
I wouldn't, because it's a superset of,
Yeah.
like, I think, mod is a superset of stuff for conductor.
You could be happy with someone being a conductor but not a mod, but it wouldn't happen the other way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, and that turns
Yeah.
into a strange. That's a kind of a half veto situation. How do you record that? How do you keep track of all that?
Yeah,
Or just a single column, vetoed for mod, vetoed for conductor.
Yeah, you could change like the veto to like either not vetoed, vetoed for mod, or vetoed for both conductor and mod.
The one reason I don't like the reason I'm not in favor of your idea, Simon, is I would rather tell the person straight, like be upfront with them and say, not in the near future. I don't think, I don't think you'd be even a fit for conductor.
I mean, there's still that opportunity for you to do that behind closed doors. It would just need to be an announcement that. To be fair, we don't even need to announce who is vetoed.
No, how I've operated is any veto I do is public. Like that's the point of it. Right?
Okay, then we can put a message at the front of the form. Upon receipt of this form, from Plan Chief may choose to veto you, in which case it will be announced publicly. Once again, they are the ones that are applying for this, so we can impose terms on that application, which is be open to public criticism, be open for a public veto.
My thought, I mean, traditionally the way it's worked is when we make the decision, and that can happen either when they reach the threshold or if someone asks proactively. If they are subject to a veto, we will eventually announce that veto, and we may give a synopsis publicly, but there has traditionally been a private conversation that goes along with that to kind of talk through the specific concerns in greater detail with the person involved. So
I suppose the challenge here will once again be it may be of greater
problem.
Yeah, the volume.
And so that's the thing. The other thing too is that all veto or clear of veto status is noted publicly on the member list, and y'all can see who's currently subject to a veto and who issued it, because now because last year when Prumple was away that I had to issue a couple. So it's the kind of thing that like I think, other than just increasing awareness of, hey, just know that when you're applying for this, there's a lot of stuff that goes public about it. I think as long as people are aware of what that means and they're okay with it, I would say, for the sake of simplicity on our part, I would say it should follow pretty much the same process in that. And really,
it would just be done at the point.
Should just be simplified. Yeah.
I suppose the difference is it would be at the point of application, because it is the person applying rather than someone else nominating them. It's at the point of application rather than having to ask specifically.
It could also be before. Errors.
Yeah.
Errors did ask question. Can you ask before you? Anyone can ask at any time. So, just like how you do for mod, anyone can ask if I would veto or Chief would veto. So. Sorry, Chief, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off there.
No, I mean, I was basically done, other than I think that the comments of Chad of just trying to figure out, or just the bit of public. Yeah, I mean, yeah, really, again, the only difference here is instead of asking the candidate to confirm that they would like to go up, we're just moving that step forward. So.
Okay,
so this has nothing to do with moderator. Moderator is staying exactly as it is. So this is adding a new rank on top of everything else.
Simon, just to also confirm, you're saying a 3-month cooldown regardless if you get rejected? I just wanted to see if we can put that in writing.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's easier to say, rather than you having to veto, unveto, veto, unveto. yes, you may have a conversation behind closed doors, which is I don't think you will be fit for this rank going forwards. For the sake of, and particularly if we've got an automated script going, can we say a veto will last 3 months by default?
So I think there's a difference between a veto and a no
Mhm.
vote. And the reason that I say that is the no vote,
Well, you've done better because you've got through that hurdle.
correct. And the difference between a veto and a no is a veto is a unilateral decision that instantly blocks somebody. And in this case, if someone is rejected, kind of with everybody else, I mean, we could say, hey, we have concerns about this person. And we'd recommend rejecting, but if everybody else thinks they're fine, then I think that's different. Vetoes last indefinitely, and they're removed when we feel like the candidate has matured enough, or whatever issues that we have, that we think that they're no longer a concern in getting to that position.
I'd usually only put in for this particular conductor case. I think I'd only issue vetoes if it was going to last way more longer than 3 months.
Okay,
I wouldn't.
I would agree.
Yeah. I would have to have serious concerns, like really, to do that.
Yeah, and again, there's a difference between a veto and a no. Like, because Frumple and I, we can vote no on somebody without vetoing them for mod.
Effectively, we'd be voting neutral in the staff meeting because that is effectively a no.
So I suppose the next question then, and I'm happy with all of this so far. What is the criteria? Is it a simple 50% of yeses? Are we even going to do a neutral and no, or should it just be yes, no?
So my thought is, because there's going to be so many involved, that we do it as a bulk thing. And
how do you mean by bulk thing? Sorry.
So essentially, what that would mean in this case is it's back to kind of one of my old consent agenda models, and what that means is, because we literally just have a list of people, and it's not like a big long, like, Frumple and I will probably look over the app, or whoever's involved in looking at applications, depending on what questions we ask. We would, if the application itself is pretty straightforward and doesn't need a whole lot of review beyond just a quick basic check, then, well, hang on, Frumple, I don't think we've gotten to that yet.
We did. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought a veto for one implied a veto for the other.
So a veto for conductor implies mod, but does a veto for mod imply a veto for conductor?
No. Kitty's just asking about separate categories. We agree that there's going to be mod vetoes and there's going to be category vetoes, conductor vetoes, which implies mod vetoes.
Okay, but but mod veto does not imply conductor veto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
What I put in the minutes is no failed conductor applications for the past 3 months. This category applies if the candidate passes the veto phase but fails a GSM vote, and then no active conductor vetoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so the thing that, okay, so back to my comment on the whole bulk thing. So basically, what that would mean is, so ideally, what I would, at least for the first little bit, while it's a bigger thing, we get it distilled down to it's a list. And, the list of names, here's all the people who have applied and passed the application stage, and none of these people have vetoes. Here's the list. Is there anyone who we need to talk about that anyone has concerns over that we need to pull from this list?
I'm not a fan of that, because once again, that's going to the majority of people that apply are getting it.
So,
and we've already said that only a small subset of people will.
So it's either that, or we have to do a ballot for everybody on the list. And ballot plus arguing for mod, it already takes about 15 minutes a person to do that.
I suppose the other question is, can we do a simple, almost a hybrid between the two? If we are closing submissions a week before, can we do a simple poll in a mods channel? People will vote yes, no in mods. We can then do a consent for the ones that have got overwhelming support, and the ones that are more in the middle we can discuss. because if someone has overwhelming support in the reactions in a private mod channel, then come public, we can just say, yep, we are happy with these 5 people.
To be honest, I'm not
I'm not sure that people remember to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure of a good answer for this. We could.
I mean, it's going to be heavily front loaded, so there will be a lot for the next GSM and the one after, I'd imagine. But after that, yeah, do we
just plow through them? Maybe.
do we just accept that the next couple of GSMs are going to be slightly longer?
No. And yeah,
and-
August and September, those will be fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then we will just we'll just accept it slightly longer, but we will do a yes no for each of them.
Again, also we don't.
Pretzel for the third time. Moderators are not impacted. Literally everything about the moderator nomination process is untouched. Please stop conflating the two. This is adding something new.
So I think Pretzel is saying we've got more time for conductors because there aren't many mods going through at the moment.
Again, they are separate processes.
Yeah, they are separate.
So I'll just reiterate. We were expecting more than mods, but at the end of the day, we're not sure exactly how many applications will be coming through. It's possible we might not get that many. So maybe, but regardless, it's an unknown. So I guess we're just going to plow through them. If it seems to be too much, then we can, I guess, change the process.
Frumple,
GSM.
yeah. I'd say Frumple and I, let's take a look at the numbers once we get our first batch and look a little and I think plowing through, I think using that as our default, I think that's fine. We'll know when we get our first batch and review that of how big of a problem it actually is.
50 applications.
You joke.
You joke.
It will only be 45.
I'm calling 46.
Okay. We can open Chief Ball Sportsbook later. Okay.
Because I'm not happy with just general consent because I think we need to default that. Probably a lot of people won't get it, but so yeah, let's try pressing on with individual votes, and if that becomes too cumbersome, then at a future meeting we can discuss changing that. But let's give it a few months to when it becomes the norm, because it will be very much be front loaded.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the last thing to discuss is conductor a prerequisite for mods? And I am pretty much in agreement with Skelly's comment that it's not a prerequisite. However, of course, demonstrating that you've supported the community is going to help a mod application.
So
I would agree.
I'm sorry, the agenda says, should you be able to skip conductor straight to mod? It says, I suggest no. I
suggested no based on conductor being a staff rank. But if we're saying it's not staff rank, then I would agree now with Skelly that we don't need to have the conductor being a prerequisite.
Okay.
But of course, if you've done it for a couple of months, it's going to help your case.
It will be immensely helpful, but not required.
Mm-hmm.
Is the second point relevant? How do you go from conductor to mod?
I think regular process.
Mod, yeah.
Just normal process. Okay.
Yeah, that was more going to be
slightly. It may be slightly streamlined or expedited because a lot of the criteria apply to both, but I think it would just be the same process.
So just to conclude this whole promotions part of it, then we're saying mod is completely untouched, including the prerequisites. You can be a trustee and apply and be considered for mods. Then for conductor specifically, it's going to be an application that the person makes to be submitted at least a week before the GSM. In that week between submission deadline and the GSM, Frumple and Chief will review them and choose who of those they are going to veto, if any. The remainder that aren't vetoed will be put onto the GSM agenda and will be voted on. Same vote style as moderators, yes, neutral, no.
Sounds
Yeah, I
good.
think so. Logistical item, who goes first? And by that I mean if we have both mod and conductor nominations up, which of those ranks goes first?
Oh,
I would say mod goes first.
I like it the other way
Okay.
because we do premier in the private, then
Yeah, true.
conductor, then mod.
But so I'm thinking of, if this is probably much more of an edge case and unlikely to happen, but if someone is up for both conductor and mod at the same time, well, yeah,
They get conductor for 2 minutes.
well, no, but I'm thinking, okay, if for some reason they're up for both and they're denied for conductor, then that would basically automatically deny them for mod.
In which case we have a vote, and yeah, that is a consensus.
But like that would be weird if they're denied for conductor and then somehow approved for mod.
But that wouldn't.
Or no, never mind. No, hang on. Never mind. Since we just said that it's not a prereq, then by the rules that is allowed.
Yeah.
So
it is
okay,
allowed.
yeah,
That's allowed.
that is allowed. It would be weird, but it is allowed. So
I'd love to see the first person to try to get premier, conductor, and mod all at the same meeting.
All right, you're a premier. Okay, now you're a conductor. Oh wait, now you're a mod.
Okay, now you're mod. Yeah, God,
I will give 2,000 MRT dollars to the first person who does that.
So
heard
any
it here
governors
first, folks.
listening, go for it.
Has to be a new premier. I'm not looking at getting second premier sitters.
No double premiers. Yeah.
Moj resigns so he can be the first.
Don't
No.
resign just to do this, Jesus.
No. Okay. Okay, cool. So great. I can. So as okay, I guess it will.
So just
right now.
one thing we haven't discussed then. When they apply, are we expecting them to give any justification, or is it literally just, this is my name, that is it? I want to be considered a doctor.
I would want to do, I think, a basic smell test and do, because if we make it so that you can apply by literally putting your hand up, then everyone's going to apply.
Mhm.
I would like to impose a probably 1 or 2 question, very short thing. Why do you want to be a conductor? Kind of thing, and really just do a basic smell test.
Yep. If they want to add anything that they think that might help them get conductor, that's the time to do it. So, yeah.
And I
What
think
do you
that
want
would be
to be why do you want to be a conductor? Are there any? Is there anything you wish to bring to our consideration when we are discussing this?
Yep.
Yeah, I could also see adding an optional thing of maybe just for well, I don't know if we necessarily use this, but do we want to ask like people to self-rate their familiarity with World Edit?
No,
I think it's
because then I
fair
think people would just put 10. I am perfect with World Edit because I think it gives them a better chance.
Fair enough.
Like I'm more than happy for a conductor to come on that is inexperienced with World Edit because you will naturally pick it up as you do it more.
True. Okay. So yeah,
Sorry,
why do you want to be a conductor? And then is there anything else? And then I think that these reasons, I think we would then publish them. So again, just know that basically the entire application's public, except for if there's an email address associated with it, then obviously we would keep that private.
Sorry, Missa, what's your concern about the question? The why do you want to be a conductor? Okay, could you elaborate?
I think Mrs. Point maybe that it's just going to end up being copy pasted the same thing because like they would just say, I want to get this to support the community.
And like especially the member apps, we get different answers partially because there are different reasons, and partially because we don't publish those. We sometimes talk through weird reasons that people put that got approved back in 2012, but
Well, I also think that if you don't put any effort into your conductor application, you're probably not going to get conductor.
Yeah, we've seen some. I get member apps are a little different because it's coming from the general public, and oh boy, I've seen a lot of ones that are just lazy, or a lot of them just say they're good builders, which is not what we're looking for.
yeah.
So, but I think the conductor ones will be elite because they're coming from our community. I think most of them. I hope most of them will be at least.
How about we insist on a
quality.
2,000-word essay?
No,
No, that's long.
but
Here's a
what's
here's a thought that I had. If a moderator resigned or got demoted for inactivity, would they get conductor?
So if it's inactivity, then no, you're not eligible, because part of the eligibility requirements for conductor is that you're active.
I think people can, if someone was being demoted, they could request to go to conductor.
Yeah, they should have that option, I think.
Yeah.
They feel like, especially if they feel like they don't have enough time, but they might still or they don't want all this rule responsibility, I guess.
I think, voluntarily stepping down, I think to conductor is a valid option. I would say if it's a forcible thing because of inactivity proceedings, then I would say then that option's not available. But generally speaking, yes. And so I would say the conductor privileges would be subject to the same inactivity review proceedings.
So are people content we've just about discussed everything to do with promotion that we need to?
Except for the miscellaneous factors and all that.
Timeline and miscellaneous.
Mm-hmm. So on to part 6, which is discussing how we want, or when we want to transition. It would be my preference, particularly as we're coming up to the summer holidays where activity spikes, that I would like this in as soon as possible to support members over when they are going to naturally be more active. So I would like to really consider the first ones at the July GSM. I think realistically we're not going to have all of the processes, particularly if we're doing a fully automated form, but I would be willing to just put a temporary form and do the manual actions behind the scenes until a permanent form could be created.
Really, the only automated action that needs to happen is checking that they haven't applied and been rejected.
I'll try to do a bit more. I'll sync it into the warning list. They haven't been warned. I'll just sync it in with the member list to see that yes, they are minimum trustee. Yes, they are. There have been that they were promoted more recently than 3 months ago. But initially, it can be just manual. We can we can have a form up by the end of today.
Yeah, we can just do a manual check for this first one. So that would make applications then due at 7 p.m. UTC on July 2nd and review at the meeting on July 9th.
So sorry, say that again. Yeah, so July 2nd is when applications are due. July 9th, the meeting is when the first ones are discussed. I'm saying this now quite happy that I'm not going to be at that meeting.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, it is much more accelerated than what you initially imagined, Simon. But
but I think the benefit of getting it in place for the summer is worth that that expedition.
Yellow Witcher, what's your question?
So basically saying that we just have to watch out for land scoring stuff. I think conductors that they have the right to refuse world edits if it's land scarring. our standard is the person who requested the world edit is liable for knowing if it's land scarring or not. And if a world edit is done that is later found to be land scarring, then the person who asked for it is liable for any warnings that get issued. If
I mean,
a
ultimately, we have the ability to roll back, so I'm not too critical about that.
it is logged.
For new conductors, I think that is a perfect example of what a Discord channel can be used for. So people can say, like, post a picture. I didn't want to do this because I thought it was land scarring. What do people think?
Yeah. And yeah, like it's the same rules. Like, staff are expected to not cause land scars for themselves, and conductors would be held to that same standard. So hopefully it's something. I mean, yeah, there certainly have been times when I've refused to do a world edit because it's too land scarry or whatever. But yeah, do conductors get to participate in trustee meetings? That is a question between you and Elite. I mean, trustee meetings are kind of dead. So
Conductors can have their own meetings if they want.
Conductors get their own official Discord channel. So
that staff aren't allowed in.
Okay. I think we're good to. So the answer to that question is then yes.
Great. In that case, I will just for the minutes. I will have a form ready by the end of today. I'll rather ready for the other staff to check, and we'll release it as soon as possible. To be considered in July, people will have to submit by the 2nd of July.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think this should go without saying, but because we allow people to decline mod nominations and like
that doesn't matter because they will be applying themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. This doesn't touch your decline status. So for those of you who have declined moderator, you can still apply for this, and we will leave your decline status for mod in place.
Yep.
So declining has no impact on this because the only way to get in is you raise your hand up to begin with anyway. So Kitty, yes, I believe that because a timeline has been.
We've discussed that we are proceeding with the meeting. We'll do a check at the end just in case there are any last minute.
Yeah, just kind of final go no go. Yeah, which I mean at this point it's basically a go.
Let's go over the misc factors because
part 7. Yeah.
Rank color. So am I right in thinking that the limitation is that it has to be one of the AND color codes for the prefix, or are we open to all hex?
You can go with any color, but sorry. Before we get to that, we need to discuss on a technical internally. Is this an add-on rank or is this a separate rank? I just want to confirm that which direction we're going here.
So I'm in favor of an add-on.
What would be easier for you? Because like for the sake of just being able to have a separate rank, we just put people in that separate rank. You then don't have to maintain their city rank on the side if they get a city promoted.
The separate rank, okay, the separate rank is preferred, but it also affects how the prefix is shown in chat. If we go with a separate rank, it'll show up as conductor in some color. It'll override their town rank. It'll just say, yeah, they're conductor. If we go
which I think is important.
Yeah. Okay. If we go with the add-on rank, hold on. If we go on the add-on rank, then there is an option to make. I think Dinty was playing around with it early in the chat. Like there's an option to make it so that it shows the town rank plus something else, like some extra thing. It has to be outside the square brackets. Yeah, it's the best way I can describe it. Hopefully that made sense to people.
At that point, I don't know if it's necessary because we could have the same argument for should staff ranks be a side rank. And my thought is that given how many people we are potentially looking at, it would be easier to have a separate rank just so you're then not having to maintain two different rank streams. If they're, let's say they are conductor mayor and they get senator, you don't have to then mix one of the streams and not the other.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Chief, but I don't really like how that prefix looks, to be honest.
Are we able to change the color that the name shows up in?
I don't know. I don't, and also I think that would also look really weird too.
I think it's important for them to show up specifically as, or it definitely needs to say conductor in chat and then /who, so people know who they can reach out to give them a service.
Yeah, I think once again, it's like, while it's not a staff rank, it's still like quote unquote above the regular ranks. And I think just having it to the side, or just like another modification on like their town or city rank or whatever, will just like make things not as clear. And it might cause confusion, especially with newer members.
So if we go with it's a separate rank thing, because that we essentially decided that that's how it's going to have to work with homes and NPCs for setting a limit, so that they can have an objectively higher limit.
Well, not necessarily, because it
than-
could override the other one.
Well, but we definitely don't want to. We never want it to be the case of like you are a governor and then you join a conductor and now your home limit is lower. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah, just to be clear, if we go with a separate rank, we have to set a limit at the conductor rank, and that'll override everything else, whatever the
which is how we which is why we had that argument and landed at 30 being the home limit for conductors.
I think we're okay with that. So
yeah. So in that case, then that leans more towards the conductor rank being separate. I think it would. This is also kind of, there's still the unknown of how many are there and what's the density of conductors going to be. And I think if we do intentionally make it selective, then that's not going to be a big deal. If we make it something that is a wide net, then chat will be, it's back in the old world days where 2/3 of the chat was trusted. So,
well, you could also argue for the other way too, because if most people are conductors, you'll just see a whole bunch of C's there, right?
Right, and then it's not that intrusive. But
no, I would say it's more intrusive that way. That's a lot of C's that don't really mean anything, right?
True. Oh.
I like and once again, this is something that the prefix can be changed in the future. Yes, it will be a bit of effort if we're then changing from a separate rank to side loading, but it's in the realm of possibility to be changed if we decide we don't like it.
Yeah, we can change it. It's just been a lot of pain on my end to figure out all the perms.
So shall we go with the simplest implementation, which is a separate rank? And if there are major concerns with that, and once again I mentioned that let's do a review meeting in 3 months anyway, if that is a bugbear, then we can look at it then.
Yeah, I'll also note that we do already have a column on the member list for tracking non-staff ranks. Is it on the member list?
Yeah, it is. It's just in the notes column.
Yeah, so we would use the notes column. We would use the notes column either to note that you are a conductor, or if we add conductor as a rank option in that list, then to note your town rank.
At this point, since we're adding, sorry about you. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say there is a mechanism already in place for tracking those separately.
But I was going to say at this point, since we're going to have mods in a whole some number of conductors, can we just make that a separate column in that member list? Just non-staff rank premier instead of putting in.
Yeah, that would make sense to
do. The problem, one caution with that, there's a lot of scripts that use the member list, like member app and your city rank stuff, Simon. So
it doesn't take too hard. I just need to change the column reference.
Okay.
And also if you add a column on the end, that's not going to break anything.
No.
It only breaks if you're adding a column in the middle or you're interjecting stuff.
It's just weird for non-staff where you're just going to have another blank column. But
we are adding it to the middle, though. I think it would go before notes, right?
But unless there's something that's using the notes, that shouldn't break anything.
Yeah, no, nothing uses the notes.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, just be cautious. It could.
Yeah. But
I'll keep my eyes out.
Simon knows how to write Google script functions with 19 parameters in them, so.
No one else knows how to read them.
Yeah. Mr. Minecraft is asking, are we going to allow mods to perform rollbacks? No, that's still admin.
Well, nothing's changing with mod really, except that actually here's just a very general. I guess the primary responsibilities for mod will really become rule enforcement then, right? Like it's.
I mean, that's always been primary. I think that we should still be healthy that mods will help out, particularly during busy periods, and if there are no conductors on at the time.
Yeah,
So I don't think mod needs to change. It's just that if there's
it's rules and-
conductors, great, we have more people.
Sure.
yeah, it's rules and governance, and also I think providing some amount of. I don't think we necessarily need to say supervision on conductors, but I think providing that guidance and helping the conductors learn.
Mhm.
I'd say as mods are available to do that, I would really appreciate them doing that. That certainly helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, yeah, I mean, mods are the ones who are actually involved in governance procedures, and conductors are not.
Okay, cool. Can we just go back to the MISC factors and let's talk
Yeah.
about the rank color now?
So, but if the whole realm of possibility, like if we have got the full spectrum, I think it was it Spaghetti that sort of had a yellowy orange between Premier and mods. I can't. Someone was posting it earlier. I can't see it in my history now. Yeah, what Foot just posted. I quite like that. How that looks with owner being
There is
darker
also
red.
there is also the option, like what I have, where my tag has 2 colors on it.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm just saying it's an option.
Yeah. Can you just show that, Chief, just so we can see it, if you can?
Yeah, I'll pop on.
Yeah. Simon, the one thing the colors are really close together, so it's for people who are.
Gotta switch networks 1 sec.
Some people who are very not, I won't say colorblind, but can't discern colors that well, that might become an issue. But they can read the text too. So
Yeah, the text is there, and there'll be a hover over as well, which explains it.
Sure. Okay. It's like a peach color.
I still think that it might be a better idea to have it be a more distinct color.
I think we're trying to. I think Simon's trying to maintain the rainbow. I mean,
I like the rainbow.
I'm not that rainbow ox, but
There was a server that I played on for a little bit before the MRT came on that used rank tag that just was a rainbow in it.
Vicky, what other
Was that a super VIP rank?
No, I don't even remember what it was for.
Vicky, what other color would be that? What other options are there? Let's shoot them out. Everyone else too.
I mean, one thing that's suggested in the agenda is purple, but of course that's the same color as staff chat.
So yeah, that was once again going to be if they are a staff member, but they're not.
Yeah, that might get confusing.
And we can't go with the old
So-
color because that would now be senator color.
Right. So for folks in game, if this goes through, why is it not going through?
It is. We see it.
Oh, you can't do it through Discord, Chief, because there's a.
No. I tried to say hi in
Yeah,
game,
we see
but it
we see
might be
high
like-
in game.
Yeah,
We see
yeah,
high
we
in
see
game.
it.
Oh, wait. Oh, there it goes.
Are you not scrolled down?
No, it just, but the network was just lagging, so it didn't come back to me right away. Because the Wi-Fi at my parents' house is kind of garbage sometimes.
Any other color
So-
ideas if you want to shoot up?
Once
I
again, very
unfortunately
easy.
don't think I have any that would keep the other eggs in place.
Once again, it's very easy to change in the future if we have a better idea. But
Yeah.
shall we go
They
with?
have fiber. It's just the Wi-Fi routers are in dumb places. So
Shall we go with what Foot said? If Foot, if you could send the hex codes, we will probably just copy and paste that.
oh God, Fred.
It's a very neon yellow, Fred. Vicky, can you note down that hex code for conductor?
I'll copy and paste it from Minecraft server.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That one that
Or
Greg was
from meeting channel rather.
The one that Fred just posted looks like Mountain Dew. Like, I can't get that out of my head. Like, it's like Mountain Dew color. That's all it is.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, can we get Baja Blast color?
Not changing mod color right now. Yeah, they're very similar.
I like that.
Like the only other option I could see is if we shift mod admin and owner off, but I don't know.
Yeah, like
Simon, I like yours.
Mine is what Foot said, which I've pasted into the minutes.
Okay.
It's in
Yeah,
the minutes,
I
so
like
it must be
yours.
right.
Oh God, protocol. No.
Yeah, the Mr. Minecraft, the hover, I guess we'll set it up when we do it. I'm
You just
guessing
have to write a couple words. It doesn't really matter.
it'll probably be very world edit specific. So yeah.
Like probably it'll just say can help perform world edits if asked nicely.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there would be obviously then conductor and conductor plus.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the next, I think we already answered the next one was going to be, do we add them to the AdMod building? But if we're saying they're not staff, then that's going to be a no.
Man,
They're not staff, so no.
if we had decided for staff, all those AdMod building candidates in the staff world would be, well, maybe except Mojes because he has a lot of offices, but mine would.
They'd have to get bigger.
I suppose the question is, do we want anything like maybe a status board for them?
No, that again, if there's a lot, then I don't know if that really would mean anything.
I'll build a closet for them in my building.
But I mean, I will
build a conductor office within my office.
I'd say, or a conductor lounge or something. I think, as I say, I may give a slightly higher rating to AdMod building candidates that have a conductor lounge in them, but anyway.
Okay, and the next question is staff doc access. It sounds like tutorials only, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think tutorials is useful. I can't think of anything that would be useful is already public anyway.
Yeah.
Once again, if we want to change that in the future, we can.
Yeah, because conductor is acquired by application and is really available to anyone, there's just a review process. Supporter benefits would still be required. I think we said that we're going to leave supporter perks as an inherited thing only to mods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And finally, trial period. No.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
As the comment says on the agenda, if there's abuse or activity or stuff like that, then we yoink it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So, I guess is there anything else? Like, I guess it's a time if anyone has any questions or.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
Miss, thank you. I think I still have the original assets for that, so I can set that up.
I probably have the images too, so I can need them.
Well, no, I have the original file that I used to make them, so because they all came from a template.
Okay.
So I think I still have that.
So do you want to do a recap before we give the overall final approval?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
All right. I have minutes open, so I can read it. So 5A2, roles, responsibilities. Conductors will be considered non-staff helper rank for communication and possibly technical purposes, separate from both basic ranks and staff ranks. On the ranks page, conductor will be listed in its own helper category between Premier and Mod. The communication methods, the in-game channel will be /D. There will also be a Discord channel in-game, but it will be unlinked to in-game. Conductors will not be allowed into ANS.
ANS, sorry?
They will not be allowed to into ANS. Sorry.
What is ANS? I'm sorry, I might be...
The admin channel and the staff channel
Admin
in
and
game.
staff.
With you, sorry, I zoned out for seconds.
You're not allowed an ass. Sorry.
Ass. Preliminary list of permissions: world edit, debug stick, reading help op, and the ability to teleport to coordinates ways and back. Total of 30 homes. Access to only the tutorials folder and staff docs. Will not have Dynamap or that.
Yeah, makes sense to
Dynamap,
me.
no staff channels, no additional speeds.
No, supporter perks are not included.
Correct. Okay.
Hard. Oops, sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I forgot this one.
Sorry. Hard eligibility requirements, so they must meet all of them. Must have been an active member for the past 3 months. Must have been a trustee for the past 3 months. Must have had no active warnings for the past 3 months. No failed conductor applications for the past 3 months, and no active vetoes. Decline status for moderator has no impact on eligibility. Selection criteria. Most important is, do they genuinely want to help the community? Concerns that people will use the rank for selfish reasons is a large negative. Clear communication regarding world edits is also very important. Active first-hand experience with world edits is nice to have, but not required. The process, an application will be made for eligible players. Must apply at least a week before the next GSM. Basic spell tests. Why do you want to become a conductor, and any other information to consider. A disclaimer will be given in the app that a player may be subject to public scrutiny, which will replace private confirmation for mod noms. There will be an instant veto check by Fumple and Chief, and then everything will be announced publicly after they're done. And then they will be reviewed and voted on at the next GSM in a manner similar to mods. Let's see. Set the expectation that only a select number of people will be conductor. Not everyone will be promoted. Will not necessarily be a prereq for mod, but it could be massively helpful for proving worthiness. Staff may voluntarily step down to conductor, but staff demoted for inactivity will go to their respective town or city rank. Conductors may also be subject to demotions for inactivity. Form will be created sometime today. Applications are due 7 p.m. UTC on Saturday, July the 2nd, for GSM on 7 p.m. UTC, July 9th. Manual eligibility check will be done for the first GSM. For future GSMs, a script will be created to automatically ensure eligibility. And then we will add conductor as a separate rank rather than an add-on, including in-game and in the members list. A new dedicated column on the members list will be added that shows regular ranks, and then colors are there. They will not be necessarily included in the AdMod building, and no trial periods. And that's it.
Okay. Sorry. 1 point, Vicky. You scroll up to selection and approval criteria. Active first-hand experience with world is nice to have, but not required. I thought we decided it should be a requirement, but it's just not as important.
So it's not that you have. Well, I think specifically, like, you obviously haven't run the commands, right? And you might not know the exact syntax, but like, I think it is kind of implied that because this rank is doing world edits, that yeah, you should have at least asked for world edits and have some familiarity with world edit.
Can we change that to knowledge of world edit though? Because
Yeah, knowledge of world edit, I'd say.
I
is
think, yeah,
required.
knowledge of world
Yeah,
edit is required.
we-
Is fair.
Yeah, we need that because otherwise otherwise it sort of implies as it was written before, it sort of implies that someone can apply, but they need not we kind of need to teach them, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
And like, I think, we're happy to teach, especially for the more advanced tools. But anyone applying for the rank, you should know select, cut, copy, paste, flip, schematic load, schematic save.
Yeah.
And stack. Like,
And
and replace.
And also for people wanting to practice, there is a single player world edit mod for, I think, Forge and Fabric. So if you want to try it out, then you could just do that.
So I think the final thing, and is a go no go. Is there any concerns that anyone has of this whole proposal before it goes live? And that is an open question, not only to the staff, but if anyone listening in has any questions that you think we haven't answered, or anything else you want clarifying, please, this is your opportunity now.
Let me ask this. I'd like to ask this question to everyone else. Are you excited that this rank is coming, or do you think it's a good idea? Like,
I am personally actually quite excited. It will reduce the workload on staff, which will definitely help us like focus more on like our own projects, including like stuff for the benefit of the server. It'll allow us to like more focus on bigger issues rather than just doing world edits for people.
okay. I'm not seeing any objection for
For such a big change, I think this is the least the least controversy that it could have possibly happened. To be fair,
well, it took a while. There were a lot of
Oh, it did.
questions and people had ideas, but I think
Yeah.
we got there.
But I think, given where we've arrived,
yeah,
I think this is exciting, and I'm excited to see who all applies and what happens. So
and particularly excited for the next GSM.
yeah, good lord.
So rank officially approved?
Not
I think
hearing
it
or
should
seeing any
probably-
objections. So
I think it should probably come from Frumpool.
yeah. No, let's do it.
let's do it.
Okay. So I'm just thinking of all the action items. I hate that word. So Simon, you're going to make the application, and or at least something temporary, not automated yet. I have to set up the rank at least sometime in the next 2 weeks. It's a lot of world edit permissions I have to add.
I mean,
you copy paste from mod, or cut paste even.
Actually, Luck Perms has like web interfaces now, so yeah, it should be.
yeah,
Just cut and paste from mod.
or at the very least, if there's a way to clone a rank and then remove, well, depends on which one's more pain in the ass, but whatever.
I'll figure it out. Are there any other things that need to be done? I'm just trying to think.
Discord, I can set that up right now, actually.
The website has to be updated quite a bit. Figure that out. I guess when maybe I'll do that when I write the SSM results or ISM results too.
Yeah, I'd say, well, yeah, I would, Frumple, I would say that because this is such a major change, might make sense to do them separately.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
One thing I will need an admin for is to edit, not necessarily related to conductors, but I am about to release the stations list here in a few minutes. So I will need an admin to edit information to make sure that the station list is on there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, with you.
Which I mean, I already have like a little write-up thing in like a personal Discord, so all I have to do is copy and paste that into announcements.
We also have to add a column to the member list. Simon, do you want me to do that, or do you want to do?
I can do that. Yeah, I'll do it at the same time I'm writing the scripts.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's also something on me to write this eventual script for the conductor applications. I think tentatively that should be live. So it's not mid GSM course. So I'll tentatively aim for the August GSM. That script, the new script, will go live. So it's 2 months of manual processes.
Cool.
That makes sense. Okay, I'm setting up Discord. Yay.
Well, I mean, from me, thank you all for your time. I appreciate we're coming here today because I wasn't available for the July GSM, and yeah, thanks all for considering it, and I'm really happy with the end result. So, thanks everyone.
Thanks for running it up, and I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad we reached a consensus. Amazingly, wow.
Yeah, leaders, feel free to keep answering questions.
Yeah, foot 2. If you have questions, yeah, ask them right now. We asked, yeah, shoot. Everyone shock foot chicken. Thank you. Mr. Minecraft, to be very specific, for now, we're starting with world edit permissions only. There is no other responsibilities that they will have. Ludus, to answer your question, no. The Admon building, since this rank is closer to being a helper rank, it's not and less of a staff rank. No. So yeah, world edit debug stick. They will, yeah, the conductors will have 30 homes. We haven't figured out the NPC limits, but I'll have to set probably 100, I think.
I mean, that's so minor that nobody will really care about it too much.
Yeah, but yeah. Simon, Dinty's asking if the form will be at least shown to our SS staff, so we can just look it over.
Yeah, so the idea is I'll release it for staff to check through before it is released to the public.
Okay.
So let's say release to the staff tonight. It will be released to the public tomorrow.
On 11, no, conductors don't get smite.
Mod.
Oh yeah, Mega will have to come on to Rank Resort to make a conductor, yeah.
Ludus, if conductors want to make their own building, they're certainly happy. The unknown is we don't know exactly how many conductors will apply and how many of them will get approved. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, like some of the stuff is just going to be we're going to have to play as it happens.
Yeah, we're playing it.
I mean, it's probably worth an action on the document. Just that we will have formally review this at the September GSM. That will be 3 months later.
You could add it to the agenda right now.
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah.
And if there's any teething issues, we can discuss it then or before if we need to.
Any other questions? Okay, we're starting to get the silly questions are coming back, and I don't know
Okay.
much about this.
Yeah, that's probably about that time.
I'm sorry, you'll have to wait for a conductor to be available to give that word to it.
Don't worry, you have 2 weeks. I'm sure you can wait that long.
So Frumple, I'm gonna need you to change my rank color in Discord. Otherwise, I've applied the rank color changes.
Sorry, what?
I'm gonna need you to, because I have the head admin role. I'm gonna need you to set the color on that because I can't do it to myself.
Okay, I can do it right now. What color should I set it to? I don't know.
It's the admin one,
Blue.
the new admin one.
For our viewers on MBS, thanks for watching our live coverage of the special staff meeting. This has been an MBS News special report. From MBS News, I'm Kitty Catwoman 231. Thanks for watching.